Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology grounded in love, a love that calls us to see the holy in each being and to take compassionate action in our world. In this space, we gather with open minds, open hearts, and open hands to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and growth, welcoming people of all nations, all creeds, all ages, all genders, all cultures, all kinds of love. Whether you are here every week, came for the first time today, or stop by once in a while, we celebrate all of who you are and all you are becoming. You are welcome here. Welcome home.
I'm Art Nava, this morning's worship coordinator. My pronouns are he, him, Kel Alford, she, her, and I are joined by Sam LaGrego, he, him, and Youngju Young, she, her, in leading worship today. We couldn't do this without our tech team, especially today, and I'll explain in a second, and our greeters, our ushers, and coffee hour hosts. Thank you, friends. For the eagle-eyed in the sanctuary this morning, you might be able to see that both Kel and I are wearing AirPods today, and the reason is that we've lost our internet connection. And we have people watching on Zoom, or who we're expecting to watch on Zoom. So we have found a way that they can hear us, at least, and be a part of today's worship service. We'll be recording it, just the regular cameras that we use, and posting it later on YouTube. So if someone wants to hear Sam's great singing, Youngju's great music, they'll be able to. So just wanted to explain a little bit of the tech challenge that we're dealing with as best as we can today. So a warm welcome to our guest preacher, Kel Alford. Kel recently graduated with her Master of Divinity from Boston University and became a new member at Arlington Street Church, which is her beloved spiritual home congregation. And we've endorsed her as an aspirant for ministry in our UU tradition. Starting in September, Kel is excited and honored to begin her ministerial internship at First Parish Lincoln, another milestone along her path to UU ministry. And one she hopes will weave together her longing to be of service with her reverence for creativity as a spiritual practice. We're so delighted to hear from you this morning, Kel, and very grateful that we found a way for the Zoomers to hear you as well. If you're new to Arlington Street, welcome. We are so glad you're here, and we'd love to stay connected. I hope you'll visit our website at arlingtonstreet.org. That is still working this morning, and sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. If you're in the sanctuary, please feel free to fill out a pew card and put it in the basket during the offering time to let us know how to be in touch with you. And Zoomers, you can find a link in the chat to a form to fill out to help us stay in touch. If you'd like more Arlington Street in your week, please go to arlingtonstreet.org. There are weekly gatherings in the Zoom room for loving kindness meditation, poetry, yoga, as well as a community tea every Wednesday at 5 p.m. All are welcome. Next Sunday's preacher is our own Cheryl, Queen of the Universe. We hope you'll join us for another wonderful service next week. If you came this morning with a joy or concern in your heart, you're invited to light a candle at home and share in the chat, or come up and light a silent candle at the table to the right of the Gleason podium at any time during the service. It's a warm summer day, hot summer day here in Boston, and those of us in person already know that we don't have air conditioning. There's water in the back, and please help yourself at any time during the service. But any time you need help, our ushers are here to support you. Let's do all we can to take care of one another. After the service, everyone is invited to join in virtual coffee hour by joining the Zoom room during the Postlude. And now Rich, for the recording, is going to turn the camera on the in-person congregation as we wave and smile at each other, as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And those all in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. And if you are connected to the Zoom meeting here in the sanctuary, feel free to turn on your camera and wave there too. Let's all engage in the Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home. And now, please join in saying the Affirmation and Covenant of this beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. And hearing Kel with a half-second delay in my ears as I was trying to read that, made that a nice challenge. So thanks for rolling with it.
For our chalice lighting today, I will read a beautiful poem by Padre Gotuma called God is the Fracture. I used to need to know the end of every story, but these days, I only need the start to get me going. God is the crack where the story begins. We are the story, or the crack. We are the crack where the story gets interesting. We are the choice of where to begin. The person going out, the stranger coming in. God is the fracture and the crick in your voice. God is the story flavored with choice. God is the pillar of salt, full of pity, accusing God for the sulfurious city. God is the woman who bleeds and who touches. We are the story of courage or blushes. God is the story of whatever works. God is the twist at the end and the quirks. Please, our first hymn is number 159. This is my song. Please rise in body or spirit to join us for singing 159.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
This morning's reading is also a poem by Iraqi poet, author, journalist, and political activist Saadi Youssef. Alone now you are free. You pick a sky and name it. A sky to live in, a sky to refuse. But if you want, know if you are really free. And to remain free, you must steady yourself on a foothold of earth, so that the earth may rise, so that you may give wings to the children of the earth below. We will now sing hymn 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where people together, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where people together, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where people together, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where people together, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Thank you. A few weeks ago, when I opened the summer worship schedule Google Doc that contained the slate of dates for summer preaching, I was immediately drawn to the idea of preaching on July 5th, an early summer Sunday in very close proximity to July 4th. Our nation's birthday, and this one, 2026, is of course particularly significant. This monumental star-spangled holiday celebration of our 250th fight for freedom from an English king and tyrant. Freedom, I thought to myself. I could craft a meaningful and timely sermon about freedom, remembering how steeped my recent divinity school education was in notions of freedom and education, emancipation, deliverance, exodus, salvation, awakening, and on and on and on. The human struggle for freedom seems to be one of the most reliable and consistent narrative struggles of the human condition. What does it mean to be free? The word freedom comes from an Old English freodome, meaning the state of being unencumbered, self-determination, free will, emancipation from slavery or deliverance. Over time, though, it gathered more explicitly political meanings like exemption from arbitrary or despotic control, civil liberties, and even possession of a certain particular privilege. The history of the word freedom is pregnant with possibility and danger. Freedom has always carried both the glory of a universal promise and the dark underbelly of an uneven practice. It can mean liberation from domination, but it can also mean privileges possessed by some and denied to others. So when we ask, what does it mean to be free, we are also asking, whose freedom counts as liberty? Whose freedom has been treated as optional? And what kind of freedom is large enough to be shared by a whole community? Remembering our tender and unlikely birth in 1776, the American Revolution was fought, at least in the patriots' own framing, as a struggle of freedom from empire, taxation, domination, and imposed authority. The Declaration of Independence gave the world luminous language about equality, liberty, consent, and human dignity. But the country that declared freedom from tyranny was also built through slavery, indigenous dispossession, patriarchy, exclusion, and the denial of freedom to many, many, many people. It was only a narrow freedom only for land-owning white males. This contradiction is not a footnote. This is a part of the American story. To love a country faithfully, we must remember, is not to flatter it. It is to refuse to lie about it. It is to grieve what must be grieved, honor what must be honored, repair what can be repaired, and to refuse to surrender the word freedom to those who would use it as a weapon. The American story, celebrated yesterday, is an unfinished one of freedom declared and freedom denied. Freedom from tyranny was the declared beginning. Freedom for justice, dignity, belonging, and repair remains the unfinished work, even after 250 years of fighting to be free. Our very own beloved Arlington Street Church has been fighting another good fight for freedom since 1729. When a group of Scots-Irish Presbyterians, many of them fleeing religious persecution in Northern Ireland, came to Boston and found themselves unwelcome again. Boston's Puritan establishment, well ensconced in power, would not allow them to build a meeting house. So they gathered instead in a converted barn on Long Lane, and they became known as the Church of the Presbyterian Strangers, a name that sounds almost like a wound and a blessing at the same time. Strangers, outsiders, people without the freedom to assemble, to worship, to belong, and to become a community the way they had hoped. Their origin story matters for us, especially on a weekend when our nation is telling stories about freedom, because the Presbyterian strangers were certainly seeking freedom from something: freedom from persecution, freedom from religious exclusion, freedom from the narrowness of an establishment that could not imagine their way of worship as legitimate. But their story, which, let's remember, is ours too, their story didn't stop there. Their story was also a story of seeking freedom for something. Freedom for conscience, freedom for worship, freedom for covenant, freedom for the sacred and difficult work of building community where none had been offered. Because freedom from is necessary. Sometimes it's urgent, the most urgent of jobs. Freedom from tyranny, violence, shame, coercion, domination, from every force that says you may not be fully human here. But freedom from is not the whole story of liberation. Eventually, the question becomes, what is freedom for? What will we build to carry us forward as we break the bonds that deny our humanity? The Presbyterian strangers did not only escape constraint, they made a church. They gathered in a barn and began to practice belonging. They turned exile into covenant. They took their outsider status and built a living tradition that would, over time, keep widening the circle of who could belong. And the story is still unfolding, unfinished and necessary. That little barn-born congregation of ours later became Federal Street Church, and now, of course, Arlington Street Church. And our history has long been shaped by freedom seekers and freedom makers. From its 1729 origins, seeking religious liberty, to its early public witness against slavery, and later commitments to suffrage for women, civil rights, peace, and dissent, to its current day struggle for queer liberation and care, this beloved congregation has not treated freedom as merely private or abstract, but as something to be practiced in public. Freedom for conscience and covenant and embodied dignity, freedom for love of all colors, and freedom for the unfinished work of becoming whole together. So when we ask, what does it mean to be free? We're asking a question this congregation has been living for almost 3 centuries. Not perfectly, mind you, not completely without contradiction, but faithfully enough to keep returning to the question, freedom from what? Freedom for whom? Freedom for the sake of what? From the Presbyterian strangers in a barn on Long Lane to the public witness of this sanctuary today, Arlington Street's history reminds us that freedom is not only a door we walk out of, it's also home for every body that we build together. And every public story of freedom eventually must find its way into a human body. A country can declare freedom, a church can practice freedom, but a human being must learn somehow how to inhabit freedom in the tender, complicated, ordinary places of a life. When I reflect on my own life experiences, I recognize the times I've been most afraid are actually the times I was also struggling to make myself free. Coming out later in life, of course, was one battle for freedom. And losing my hair, which preceded that personal struggle, was another. These struggles for freedom were interconnected. Another freedom from and freedom for. And neither of these freedom stories felt at first like freedom at all. They felt like exposure, grief, risk, the terrifying possibility of becoming visible in a way that I could not fully control. For much of my life, I had carried old stories in my body about beauty and worth and control and what it means to be seen. And a few years ago, when my hair began to fall out, which was the unexpected and terrifying onset of an autoimmune condition called alopecia, I was frightened and embarrassed. And I went into full battle mode. I tried to fix it, cover it, manage it, solve it, hide it. And the story I was telling myself became brutally simple. If my body behaved according to the standards of my culture, I was good. If it did not, I was broken. I was defective. Hats and headbands protected me for a while, and then as my son's wedding approached, I knew I could no longer pretend, so I got a wig. And for a while, the wig was my freedom. It was my freedom from my baldness and freedom from my suffering. The wig was mercy. And it was also beauty and protection and a friend and a cover. It helped me cross a threshold I did not yet know I couldn't cross alone. But slowly something in me began to shift in private, on early morning walks and at home in the quiet. I began to befriend my suffering, befriend my baldness, and it felt strangely and surprisingly empowering. And eventually, in rather short order, there came a tipping point and I took the wig off. I still didn't have hair, but it was time. Because for me, freedom was not getting my old self back. Freedom was not the absence of vulnerability. Freedom was the choice not to let shame decide the terms of my vulnerability. Freedom was the choice not to hide. And this is what I mean when I say that freedom from and freedom for go hand in hand. I was seeking freedom from shame, freedom from hiding, freedom from the narrow stories that had taught me my worth depended on how my body performed beauty. But I was also seeking freedom for something, it turned out. Freedom for truth, freedom for embodiment, freedom for tenderness toward myself, freedom for becoming more fully myself. And that, I think, is one of the deep spiritual meanings of freedom that I want to talk about today, because it's not simply to escape what has bound us, though sometimes escape is necessary, but to become free is to create something new, a new story for your country, for your community, or for yourself. It's unfinished work, to be sure, and it's always work that is necessary. So on this Sunday morning, July 5th, after the fireworks and the flags and the speeches and the parades, after all the stories America and ourselves tell about freedom, we gather here to ask again, what does it mean to be free? Are we free if our neighbors are afraid? Are we free if only some people get to be safe? Are we free if some bodies are treated as threats? Are we free if truth becomes optional? Freedom from and freedom for belong together. Freedom from tyranny must become freedom for justice. Freedom from domination must become freedom for dignity. Freedom from fear must become freedom for courage. Freedom from shame must become freedom for truth. And freedom from exclusion must become freedom for covenant. Freedom from the stories that diminish us must become freedom for the sacred and difficult work of becoming whole together. As a country, we're still learning this, still learning that freedom cannot be real if it only belongs to some, still learning that liberty, when hoarded as privilege, is not freedom at all. We're still learning that a nation's story must be large enough to tell the truth about its wounds, its contradictions, and its unfinished promises. As a church, we're still learning this too. A faith community does not measure freedom only by what has been promised. We measure it by who's still waiting for the promise. From the Presbyterian strangers gathered on Long Lane to every generation that has widened the circle since, and it's been many, many generations. We ask again and again, what is our freedom for? And we've been answering. Our freedom is for conscience, worship, covenant, for public witness, for queer love, for embodied dignity and repair, for the ever unfinished work of widening belonging. And as individual human beings, As bodies and souls trying to be whole, we're still learning this too. In our tender places, in the mirror, in the closet, in the diagnosis, in the family secret, in the grief, in the aging body, the changing body, the place where shame once told us we had no right to be seen. Freedom is not always fireworks. Sometimes it's trembling, or the crick in your voice that Padraig talked about. Sometimes freedom is telling the truth with your voice shaking. Sometimes freedom is walking into the world without your old armor. And it's choosing again and again not to let fear write the story, not to let shame write the story, or cruelty, or domination, or despair. None of these can write the story. We need to write a story so that we may be free from fear and free for courage, from shame and for truth, from domination and for justice, from isolation and for love, free from every narrow story that diminishes our worth, and free for the sacred and difficult work of becoming whole together. May it be so. Amen.
We join now in our ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. In addition to sharing our joys and sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. We'll begin by singing There Is a Love. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
We now join in the sharing of our burdens and our blessings, offering the prayers of our hearts to the care of this community. We hear and hold one another's yearnings and celebrations in the depths of our hearts.
A candle of concern for Kevin Terrell, who was a key part of our tech team. Kevin broke his leg yesterday and is scheduled for surgery later today. Our thoughts are with him and Michael with hopes for a successful surgery and a speedy recovery. A candle for transgender, non-binary, two-spirit, intersex, and gender-expansive people. This past week, the Supreme Court of the United States issued a decision allowing states to restrict participation by transgender youth in school sports, a ruling that has caused pain and concern for many in our communities. The UUA's LGBTQ and trans support ministries wrote this: in response. The work of LGBTQ and trans support ministries within the UUA has always been about more than responding to difficult moments. It is about building communities where all people, including those who are transgender, non-binary, two-spirit, intersex, and gender expansive, are not simply welcomed, but celebrated, where every person can bring their whole self into religious community and where love continues to be stronger than fear. Today, we hold especially close transgender young people, parents, caregivers, coaches, educators, and advocates who are navigating this moment together. You are not alone. It's a candle of sorrow for the 9 Buddhist monks who were killed in Thailand while walking in pilgrimage. We grieve the sudden and devastating loss of these monks. We hold in tenderness the injured monks and lay followers, especially those still in critical condition, and all who witnessed this terrible accident. May this tragedy awaken deeper care for one another on every road we travel. And a candle of sorrow from the Arlington Street community for the death of Karen Clark. Karen was a trailblazing Minnesota state representative, the first openly lesbian member of the Minnesota legislature, and the first Minnesota lawmaker to run and win as an openly LGBTQ+ candidate. For nearly 4 decades, she represented Minneapolis neighborhoods with courage, kindness, and fierce determination. She helped make marriage equality possible, worked to ban LGBTQ+ discrimination in housing, employment, and education, and was honored by the Obama administration as a champion for change. Karen believed that coming out was one of the most important political acts LGBTQ people could make, and her life bore witness to that. She was also a steadfast advocate for environmental justice. We remember her gentleness and her relentless commitment to justice, her coalition building, her care for community, and her lifelong work to make the world a more loving and more free place. And another candle from the Arlington Street community, a candle of beloved concern for Harriet Heurig and for everyone in our community who is battling illness. May healing and help come in all forms. And a final candle, candle of joy for all soccer fans. Candle for soccer fans, for visitors arriving in Boston from around the world and are all caught up in the excitement of the World Cup. This Tuesday, our city will host a quarterfinal match, Morocco versus France. May we celebrate the beauty of competition, the joy of gathering across cultures, and the way sport can remind us that even amid our differences, we are capable of coming together in wonder, passion, and play.
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, for all nations and all beings. Amen.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Arlington Street is entirely self-sustaining. It's up to us. Generosity is a key spiritual practice here, and it shows. Your contributions help our services, our justice work, and our spiritual home thrive. So you heard earlier that Kevin hurt his leg yesterday at an accident. I thought that was going to be this week's wrinkle. and because he was scheduled to be on Zoom Deck, which allows all the Zoomers to see our worship services. He was also going to be doing sound. So I said, no problem. As worship coordinator, I can do sound from here, and let me ask for help. Let's see who's available. I reached out to Kellyanne Weaver, who's been our Peru chair this past year. It's been a turbulent year. I know a lot's been asked of her this over the last few years, actually. And she said, yeah, sure, just tell me what I need to do. It's like, it's simple. You just push a button and it shows which camera the Zoomers are going to see. It's really easy to learn. So no problem, we got it. So she's scheduled to come in, reach out to worship team, because she was supposed to be worshiping. I mean, she was supposed to be ushering this morning. She is worshiping. So reached out to the worship team and said, hey, is anyone available? And I can now see that Carrie Kelso, who serves on our worship team, is ready to take the offering as soon as I finish this ask. Let's see. So I thought, all right, we've managed that wrinkle. Show up this morning, and there's no internet. So we've got a couple more wrinkles kind of coming at us. But if anything that this place teaches has taught me, it's the spiritual practice of rolling with it. The spiritual practice of showing up. There was some unexpected help also came in. Keith, who just is an usher in training, who just trained last week, is also ready to take the offering because he's helping cover for Kelly over here. As worship coordinator, I'm tasked with sometimes coming up with the candles if they haven't been sent in. This morning, as Kel arrived, she's like, hey, I've already done that. Here's some candles, including one from Fran Peterson, who helped us out by noting the Minnesota legislature who just passed away. So what's the point of all that? Again, there's a spiritual practice for me, of learning when to ask for help. I tend to be someone who thinks I can be very self-reliant. I don't need anyone, but the reality is I do. And we all do. And the other lesson I think for all of us is just that building community really happens in those little moments, just when someone asks for help. If you can offer it, do it. Sometimes that help is just being generous with grace and forgiveness. And I think we're all in the process of learning that this year. So thank you for indulging me that little bit of a longer ask and a little bit more of a personal one. The only thing I think I left out of that was that this past week I was unexpectedly hospitalized overnight. And I was going to do a candle of gratitude for the medical professionals at Leahy, who did a great job. Nothing too serious, overnight stay, some IV antibiotics, and we're good to go. And I was going to express some gratitude for the immediate support that I had in my, as I said before, very tight circle. But I'll add to just the very big thanks for this community in the way that they have showed up this morning especially. All of you got to see very much behind the scenes. It's not usually these many challenges we have, but there is usually something. And that these teams exist for a reason, and we work together for a reason, and hopefully it'll help us get through not only this today, the rest of the summer, the next church year, and the next almost 300 years of this congregation. So please take a moment now to join me in giving to sustain our beloved Arlington Street. Instructions for giving can be found in your order of service and in the Zoom chat. So we now give and receive this morning's offering in celebration of the generosity that gives us life.
Thank you for that beautiful music. Our final hymn is number 1020, Wo Ya Ya, one of my favorites. And the words are in the order of service and in the chat, so let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and sing together. Hymn number 1020.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we're there. We will get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows how we are going, but we know we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Thank you. As we begin our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room, although I don't know that we have visuals, but let's do it anyway, to reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square, and those of you in the sanctuary to do the same. Reach out your hands, palms out, and let's send loving kindness to the people on your left and people on your right, to either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. As you feel it coming back, bring your hands back to your heart center to carry the love that is the spirit of this congregation with you wherever you go. As we prepare to leave our beloved sanctuary of sharing today and walk into our week ahead, let's hold our country's recent birthday tenderly in our memory, knowing that the work of freedom remains unfinished and necessary for our country, for our community, and for ourselves. Let's aim our hearts in the direction of freedom and dedicate ourselves to the writing and the rewriting in our own particular voice, a new story of what it means to be free in our nation's arms, in our congregation's arms, and in one another's arms. A story honest enough to hold our grief, brave enough to demand justice, tender enough to heal shame, spacious enough to include all of us, and loving enough to become repair and wholeness. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us all until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. I love you. Amen.
2, 3. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are my
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.